I already broke down all the running backs you need to draft in 2025. Now let's go over all the wide receivers you need to draft in 2025. I'm going to go round by round and tell you which wide receivers in each round I'm willing to pick and which ones I'm going to pass on. And let's start in round 1 where we see Ja'Marr Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua, Malik Nabers, Sun God, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Nico Collins, and Brian Thomas Jr. Now, all these wide receivers are great, and if you draft any of them, you're probably going to be okay. But I'll say the one that gives me the most pause in the first round is Puka Nacua. Now, Puka Nacua has been very good, and he's clearly the Rams' #1 wide receiver. But I'm a little worried because they brought in Davante Adams. And Davante Adams, although still not an elite wide receiver like he was in his prime, still a very good wide receiver, and he's definitely an upgrade over Cooper Kupp, especially the Cooper Kupp we saw down the stretch when he wasn't even being targeted. Davante Adams is going to take more targets than Cooper Kupp did. I think Puka Nacua will still be good. I don't think you're going to regret drafting him or anything like that. I just feel like first round, a little too high. The ceiling may not be there for him compared to some of the other guys. I prefer him early second, but really, all these guys, probably okay in fantasy. Now in round 2, we see Drake London, A.J. Brown, Ladd McConkey, and T. Higgins. This round's pretty easy for me. If I can get Ladd McConkey or Drake London, heck yeah, I'm doing that every time. If I got to take T. Higgins or A.J. Brown, I don't think so, to be honest. I mean, these guys are fine. T. Higgins was great last year, don't get me wrong, and A.J. Brown's a good wide receiver, but what do we see with that Eagles offense? They like to run the football a lot. They barely pass, and A.J. Brown is going to have a lot of weeks where he's very frustrating and does very little. And I really worry about T. Higgins and really this entire Bengals offense coming off a historic year. Can T. Higgins really back that up, especially now that he got paid? I don't know. I just feel like second round, I feel like people are a little too crazy about T. Higgins. This is one of those guys where the pendulum always swings too far. Either people hate this guy or people overdraft him. I think this is going to be an overdraft year. A lot of wide receivers in round 3. We see Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Rashee Rice, Davante Adams, and Mike Evans. Terry and JSN should have no worries about these guys. I think they're going to be great this year, just like they were last year. I'm still high on Mike Evans. I know he's up there in age, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't stop slowing down. I already talked about Adams. I think Adams is a steal in this range. I also do like Marvin Harrison Jr. I talked about him in the wide receiver skyrocketing video. I think we're going to see a much better year 2 for Marvin Harrison Jr. Garrett Wilson, I'm on the fence here. I wish it wasn't Justin Fields. I know the talent is there, but man, I'm really nervous with Justin Fields. I'll take shots on him sometimes, but not a guy I feel like I have to draft. And then Rashee Rice, Tyreek Hill, I'm just not doing it with these guys. I mean, Tyreek Hill, I'm very worried, is completely cooked. Also did a video about him, some cooked wide receivers. Really don't feeling good about him going into this year. And Rashee Rice coming off a major knee injury. When we have Xavier Worthy there, we have Hollywood Brown back. They drafted Jalen Royals. I mean, Rashee Rice probably be okay, but we're talking about third round wide receivers here. I just need some more upside and a little more feeling good about the wide receivers I'm taking here. Now on to round 4, we see Xavier Worthy, Ted McMillan, DJ Moore, Travis Hunter, Devonta Smith, Courtland Sutton, and Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams is probably my favorite pick in this range. Talked about him on that skyrocketing video. I also still like Devonta Smith. I'd rather just take the 2-round discount on A.J. Brown. I also would rather take the almost round discount on Xavier Worthy here and just grab Worthy over Rashee Rice since he's healthy. I'm also okay with the 2 rookies, Hunter, McMillan. Yeah, they could be volatile as rookies, but they're in good situations. They have the upside. My 2 issues with this round are DJ Moore and Courtland Sutton. Now, DJ Moore, I was very high on DJ Moore until they drafted Luther Burden. And Colston Loveland with pick number 10. Now there's a lot of mouths to feed here. I think DJ Moore will be okay, but again, just okay. I'm looking for more ceiling. And the same thing with Courtland Sutton. This is a guy who's a very high floor player, but where's the ceiling? This guy does not give you those huge spike weeks. He gives you, again, a good high floor, which I guess is okay in your redraft leagues, but in round 4, you're just looking for a floor. I think Courtland Sutton is unfortunately being a little overdrafted in 2025. Now on to round 5, we see DK Metcalf, Zay Flowers, Calvin Ridley, George Pickens, Jalen Waddle, and Jordan Addison. This feels like the wide receiver dead zone, although I do really like Calvin Ridley now with Cam Ward, kind of comparing him to Terry McLaurin last year, a wide receiver who really did not connect on deep balls last year, had over 1,000 unrealized air yards. That's going to change with Cam Ward. I'm also okay with guys like Addison and Pickens here. Yes, they're going to be volatile, but they're in good offenses. They're going to have those major spike weeks that I am looking for. I'm not touching DK Metcalf. I don't care if it's Aaron Rodgers. I don't care who the quarterback is. This is going to be one of the worst quarterback rooms. Not touching DK Metcalf. Then there's Zay Flowers. Again, I just feel like he's okay. I mean, it feels like he should be better, but when's it going to happen? Like, he's okay. I don't feel like I have to draft him. And the tough one here is Jalen Waddle. This is a guy we saw had a great first couple years in the league. Hasn't been so good recently. Tyreek Hill may be cooked. Maybe that's good for Waddle. This is probably good value for him, but man, I have a hard time taking him here just after he's burned me the last couple years. But totally get it if you want to take Waddle here. This does feel like pretty good value. And if you're thinking to yourself, man, I want to take advantage of these ADPs, I want to start doing some fantasy drafts, you got to head to Underdog Fantasy right now because they have all sorts of fantasy drafts going on all offseason long, including their flagship Best Ball Mania 6, which is going to make multiple millionaires. Not to mention, they just dropped their playoff basketball promo. With the extender, you can play your way to increasingly bigger boosts each round of the playoffs. Start a playoff series by using your Game 1 boost and continue boosting each subsequent game to unlock the next one. The longer the series, the bigger the boost. You're going to want to see how serious it gets when that Game 7 hits. Hop on Underdog, the best place to make picks during playoff basketball, and get started right now. And when you do, make sure you join using promo code ENDGAME, because not only is that going to get you a free pick, but also up to $1,000 of bonus cash. All right, now in round 6, we see Rome Odunze, Chris Olave, Chris Godwin, Jauan Jennings, Deebo Samuel, and Jerry Jeudy. So let's say my favorite pick in this round is easily Chris Godwin. Once again, a major value. Should be good to go to start the season. I also really like Jauan Jennings. Brandon Ayuk coming off that ACL. Doesn't sound like he's going to be ready to start the year. Jauan Jennings put up some nice games last year. I'm also okay taking some shots on Rome Odunze here. I'm a little nervous because, again, with the Loveland and the Burden picks, a lot of mouths to feed, but he is a talented wide receiver. Maybe it happens in year 2, but I do have some doubts. And then I'll just say, sadly, I'm not drafting Chris Olave. This might be the worst quarterback room in the NFL with Tyler Shook, Spencer Rattler, whoever's at quarterback. I can't do it with Olave anymore. He's been my boy the last couple years. He's burned me. Not getting burned again. I'm not doing it with Deebo Samuel. He looked terrible last year. I know he's on the Commanders. People think this is going to save him. Let me see this guy look like he's in shape first. And then Jerry Jeudy. I don't understand the Jerry Jeudy love here. Yeah, he was great last year when Jameis Winston was a quarterback. Now we're looking at Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, maybe Shador. This isn't enough for me to take Jerry Jeudy. Now on to round 7, we see Jacoby Myers, Ricky Pearsall, Matthew Golden, Stephon Diggs, Jaden Reed, Khalil Shakir. I like all these guys. I mean, really, I think all these guys are worth taking here. Now, Diggs is the only one where we'll have to see as training camp rolls along. Is he going to be ready? But if he's ready week 1, I think he's a solid option in this offense. Really, all these guys, I think, have great upside. Yes, there's risk, but the reward is also there. Now on to round 8, we see Brandon Ayuk, Cooper Kupp, Darnell Mooney, Luther Burden, Emeka Egbuka, and Josh Downs. Honestly, this round terrifies me. This is the opposite of the last round. Ayuk, when healthy, sure, he's great. So you want to take shots on Ayuk this late, totally fine with it. Same with Burden. Yes, I talked about it, a lot of mouths to feed there, but this guy has weekly upside. This is one of those guys like a Xavier Worthy type. You just get him the ball, he can make something happen. Then we have the guys I'm pretty much not drafting. Cooper Kupp looked cooked last year. Darnell Mooney, okay, he's fine. He's got a few spike weeks in him, but I can get that later in the draft. Josh Downs playing with Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, no thank you. And then I don't understand the Emeka Egbuka hype, although I can't really call 8th round hype, but this guy just landed on a team with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Jalen McMillan, and we're supposed to buy into year 1, for a rookie? Nah, I'm not doing it. And that takes us to about the top 100 players, so I'm not going to keep going round by round past here, but I'll give you some of my late round sleepers that I like. Starting with Trey Harris, rookie for the Los Angeles Chargers. Love this fit with the Chargers. Chargers have been looking for that outside X wide receiver, that big play guy. They tried to do it with Mike Williams, then they went to Quentin Johnston, then they went back to Mike Williams. None of it's going to work, but they drafted Trey Harris this year. I love this guy. Love what he can do in the deep vertical game. I think he's going to give you plenty of spike weeks. Yes, he's going to be volatile. Think kind of like a George Pickens type, but I'll take that, especially this late in drafts and in my underdog drafts. Then yes, once again, I'm going to gamble on Hollywood Brown. I know you probably just rolled your eyes. You might have even clicked away. You said, this guy with his Hollywood Brown again. I know. Hollywood Brown, he can't stay healthy, but if he does, he's on the Chiefs. He's a good enough player, and the discount is there. You're getting him so late in drafts that even if he does get hurt, it's like, oh well, I cut ties with Hollywood Brown and I move on. The upside is worth the risk. And then finally, I've talked about Joshua Palmer a couple times. Love this landing spot with the Bills. The Bills didn't do anything on offense to scare me off Palmer, and there's going to be targets up for grabs here. He's a big-bodied wide receiver, which gives him touchdown upside in an offense that's going to score a lot of touchdowns. I honestly think he can be similar to Courtland Sutton, a guy that doesn't rack up a ton of catches, a ton of yards, but scores a bunch of touchdowns, but you're getting him much, much later in your drafts. And if you missed my video breaking down the only running backs you need to draft, you can find it in this playlist here, along with plenty of other videos to help you dominate in 2025.